Karen, I need to ask you for a favor. I hurt my arm and can't work right now, so I'm on leave from my part-time job. Without work, I don't get paid, and life is hard. Could you lend me some money to help cover my living expenses? My husband and mother-in-law tricked me into giving them money. I trusted them and wanted to help, but I found out later that my husband was having an affair, and my mother-in-law was using the money for gambling. I felt completely betrayed when I discovered the truth. When I confronted them, they got angry. I couldn't take it anymore and decided to get a divorce. But they insulted me, saying I wouldn't be able to marry again because I only graduated from junior high. They were happy to be rid of me as their daughter-in-law. Their cruel words made me realize that just divorcing them wasn't enough. I couldn't forgive their betrayal. I want them to pay for what they did to me. My name is Karen. I'm 27 years old and have been married for 5 years. My husband, Paul, works at a clothing store. We met when he came to the family restaurant where I worked as a waitress. He asked me out one day, and I said yes because I had never had much experience with men and felt lonely. I grew up with my mom after my dad left us following an affair that led to my parents' divorce. My mom did her best for me, but when I was supposed to go to high school, she got sick and couldn't work. I had to quit school and work to support us. A few years later, I met Paul, who was older than me. He seemed mature and attractive, and he took me to many places. I was really moved when he asked, "Where should we go next time?" The seaside sounds nice, and a spa trip would be fun, right? Since I hadn't done much of that before, his plans felt fresh and exciting. My husband always took me to new places, like a prince from a storybook. I was so enchanted by the idea of an ideal life that I decided to marry him just 5 months after we started dating. My mother warned me it was too soon, but maybe because she felt guilty about not being able to give me a full youth, she didn't push too hard against it. My mother had fully recovered and gone back to work, and my husband was also an only child from a single-parent family, which might have influenced our decision to get married. When I first met my mother-in-law, she was very nice and kind, but I still felt uneasy around her and couldn't help but dislike her. I talked to my husband about it, and he said, "Don't worry about it. I was nervous when I first met your mother too. You'll get used to it, and if there's a problem, I'll support you." His comforting words eased my mind, but I still didn't really understand who he was at that time. After we got married, we decided to buy a condo instead of renting. He said, "It's smarter to buy a condo and pay the mortgage. It'll eventually become an asset. Since you, Karen, have more work experience than me, it'll be easier to get the mortgage approved in your name." I agreed without any doubts and was happy to live with him. Soon after we started living together, I was asked to work night shifts. I have a hard time saying no, so I agreed, even though it meant we had little time together as newlyweds. One day, when we both had a day off, we were relaxing at home when he said, "Hey, I'm sorry to ask, but could you lend me some money?" I was surprised and asked why he needed it so suddenly. He explained with a serious look, "Sales at the store have dropped, and my salary was cut. I didn't want to worry you." I felt bad for him and said, "That must be tough. Don't worry, I'll help you out. We're a couple, so there's no need to feel bad about it." "Do you still have some savings?" he asked. "Yes. Just a little, but I'm making more with the night shifts, so I'll cover for you," I replied. He thanked me, and I continued to support him financially, but over time, I lost track of how much I was giving him. I had lent him money, and everything should have been fine. But then, out of the blue, my mother-in-law showed up. "Lisa, what brings you here?" I asked, surprised to see her with a bandage on her arm. "Karen, I fell down the stairs and broke my right arm," she replied. "Oh no, are you okay? Have you told Paul about this?" "No, I don't want to worry him, so I haven't mentioned it yet." "I see. It must be hard to stand and talk here. Please come inside. I said, leading her to the living room. Once we sat down, she started, Karen, I've come to ask you for a favor. I can't work with this arm, and I'm currently on leave from my part-time job. Without working, I don't get paid, and life is tough. Could you possibly lend me some money for living expenses? Me? I asked, surprised. Yes, there are things I can't discuss with Paul. You're the only one I can ask. Feeling that I couldn't refuse, I decided to lend her $3,000, hoping it might help improve our relationship. I had been giving the extra money I earned from my night shifts to my husband, so I had to dip into my savings to help my mother-in-law. This was tough for me. Even when I was tired, I tried to save money by cooking at home and making lunch for my husband. Sometimes, I ate instant food or skipped meals to cut costs. During this frugal time, I found a strand of blonde hair while cleaning the house. It clearly wasn't mine or my husband's, and I was deeply disturbed. This had to be a sign that my husband was having an affair and had brought someone into our home while I was at work. I was distraught and started searching for more evidence. Then, I found one of his payslips. Checking it, I discovered that there had been no cut in his salary at all. In fact, it was higher than what he had told me. I was shocked by both his cheating and his lies about the money. Not knowing who to turn to, I decided to visit my mother-in-law, thinking about the money I had lent her. I was sure she would support me. But as I approached her house, I saw something that stunned me, my mother-in-law coming out of a casino. Lisa, what are you doing here? I asked, shocked. She looked surprised but tried to stay calm. Karen, why are you here? I came to talk to you, but you were playing slots. I thought you said you were out of money. I replied, confused and hurt. I only used a little of that money, she said. That's the money I lent you, isn't it? I asked. No, it was just a little leftover from my last paycheck. I'm using the money you lent me for this month's living expenses, she replied. I didn't believe her, but I was more concerned about the issues with my husband, so I decided not to push it further. Karen, I ended up taking leave from work for the rest of the month, so I won't have a salary next month. Could you possibly lend me some money for my living expenses? She asked. Her lies were obvious. She wasn't even wearing the brace on her arm anymore. Still, I decided to lend her the money to stay on good terms with her. Of course, but can we talk for a bit? I said. Thank you, Karen. You really are understanding. It's such a relief, she said, pleased, and we went back to her house. Once inside, I told her everything about my husband. Men always cheat. I went through a lot when I was young. Why don't you try fighting back, Karen? She suggested, shocking me with her inappropriate advice. As for the money, I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Paul lately, but maybe just wait a bit longer. He'll probably pay everything back at once. Her careless response left me speechless. So, can I borrow the money for next month's living expenses today? I have some bills coming up, she pressed. What, today? Could you come back in a week, at night? I asked. That's fine, she agreed. 2 weeks later, on my day off, I planned to confront my husband in front of her. The day arrived, and I eagerly awaited them at home. She arrived first. Karen, I'm here, Lisa said. Please come in, I replied. It's okay, I'll just stay here. I'll leave as soon as I get the money. I don't want to overstay my welcome in a newlywed's home, she said hesitantly, but it was clear she was only interested in the money. It seemed she had lost interest in seeing her son. Lisa, you don't need that arm brace anymore, do you? Then there shouldn't be a problem meeting Paul. He'll be back soon, so please wait in the living room. I'll give you the money secretly so Paul doesn't know. Don't worry, I said. Yes, I might as well see Paul after a long time, she agreed. I had invited her over to confront my husband with her present. If she left now, my plan would fail. Even if she was using me, I needed her to stay. I needed to use her to protect myself. She sat quietly in the living room, drinking coffee, looking like she didn't want to stay long. Then my husband came home. On my days off, he always came home at the same time, as if to show he wasn't cheating. "I'm home," he said. "Welcome back. Your mother is here too," I replied. Paul looked surprised. "Mom, what are you doing here so late?" "I just came to see how you and Karen are doing," she said. "Really? That's unusual. First, sit down. I'll make some coffee." I made coffee, and the three of us sat in the living room. Even though it was rare for them to be together, my husband and mother-in-law barely spoke. The silence was strange, almost like they didn't care about each other anymore. But this quiet moment gave me the chance to bring up the real issue. "Actually, there's something I need to ask you," I said. "Since your mother is here, I'd like her to hear it too." "What do you want to ask?" he replied. I pulled out the strand of blonde hair and showed it to them. "What is this?" Paul's expression changed. "I don't know. Maybe it's someone else's hair," he said, clearly annoyed. "I found this while I was cleaning your room," I continued. "Well, I deal with a lot of people at work, so it must have stuck to my clothes." I decided to confront him directly. "Are you cheating on me?" "What? Of course not. Are you doubting me just because of that?" he snapped. "It's not just the hair. There's other evidence too," I said, though in reality, I had no other proof. I just had a strong feeling he was being unfaithful. "What other evidence? Be specific," he demanded. Not wanting to push further, I quickly changed the subject. "Also, your salary hasn't been cut, has it? I found your payslip while cleaning." "Why are you looking at that without permission?" he shot back. "First, I want the money I've lent you back," I said firmly. "Why all of a sudden? You know I can't pay it back. Didn't you say we shouldn't strain ourselves because we're family?" "I didn't lend you money so you could use it for cheating," I responded. "I'm not using it for cheating," he protested. "So you admit to cheating?" I asked, pressing him. "That's a dirty trick," he accused. At that moment, I realized he had indeed been unfaithful. Whatever feelings I had left for him were gone. Ignoring Paul's reaction, I turned to his mother. "Lisa, if I can't get the money from Paul, I can't lend you any more." "Karen, that's not fair," she replied. "I came all this way just for the money. That's so cruel." It was clear that both Paul and his mother only cared about themselves. They didn't see any problem with Paul borrowing money from me without his mother knowing or that he was having an affair. It felt like they saw our marriage as an opportunity to take advantage of me. As the situation got worse, I knew I had to make a decision. "I can't live with you anymore. I'm filing for divorce," I said. Paul and his mother were shocked by my words. "If you divorce, you'll never be able to marry again," Paul sneered. "So, you've always looked down on me like that?" "Yes, because you're just a high school graduate," he replied. "How does education have anything to do with marriage?" I asked, but his insult still hurt me, even though I expected it. "Karen, calm down," his mother interrupted. "You just want my money, right?" "That's not true," I replied. "But I can't lend you any more money, and I need you to return the $3,000 I lent you before." "What will you do?" I asked, watching her expression change. "If that's the case, fine. I have no further business here," she said, showing her true feelings. I realized then that I was just an ATM to her. She sighed, clearly fed up. "I'll finally be free from this unpleasant daughter-in-law. I don't mind if you divorce." Paul seemed uninterested, looking at his phone. "I don't want anything to do with you anymore," I said, placing the divorce papers I had prepared in front of him. "You had this ready?" he asked. "I've already filled out my part. It just needs your signature. I'll come to pick it up tomorrow." Paul and his mother looked at the divorce papers without any emotion, saying nothing. I quickly left the house and went straight to my parents' home. "I'm back," I said when I arrived. "What happened? Why are you here alone so late?" my mom asked. "Mom, I think I rushed into marriage. I should have listened to your advice, I admitted. What exactly happened? She asked. I explained everything to her. So, that's what was going on. I should have opposed it more. I'm really sorry. It's not your fault, but I'm not going to end it with just a divorce. I'll get back the money I lent them, and I'll seek the right compensation. But do you have proof of his cheating and debt? She asked. It's okay. I had a feeling this might happen, so I recorded all our conversations earlier. I said, showing her the recorder. Thinking ahead like that you're quite something, she said. Yes, unfortunately, my prediction was right. I'll talk to a lawyer tomorrow. Indeed, you can't just let this go. If there's anything I can help with, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you, Mom. Can I stay here for a while? Of course, this is your home, my mom said. I really appreciate it, I replied. That night, I couldn't sleep, filled with humiliation and disappointment. The next day, I went back to my house to get the signed divorce papers and made sure Paul had signed them. Then, I went straight to the condo management company to start the process of selling the condo. Since the title was in my name, everything went smoothly. I had no intention of living there anymore, and I didn't feel the need to inform Paul. The property was mine, I bought it and paid for it, so there was no reason to let my estranged husband live there. At the same time, I hired movers to take out all the household items, which I had bought and owned. A few days after the move, Paul called, shocked to find the house empty. What's going on? The TV and fridge, everything's gone, he exclaimed. Since I paid for everything myself, why should I leave them there for you? Never set foot in this house again. Your belongings are no longer here, I replied calmly. His reaction was predictable. He was upset, but the situation was far from over. A few days later, after a visit from the condo manager, Paul called again. What are you doing? Why did you sell the condo? You even took the TV. That house is mine, he yelled. The condo was in my name, and I made all the payments. It's only natural for me to sell it since I no longer plan to live there, I explained. Don't be stupid. Where am I supposed to live now? He asked angrily. That's not my problem. Why don't you go live with your affair partner? I replied. This isn't a joke. I won't forgive you, he shouted, but his words didn't matter to me. How could he expect to keep living in a condo he never paid for? It made no sense. Then, I took the next step. I demanded compensation from Paul for his infidelity and asked my mother-in-law to repay the money I had lent her, with interest. The day they received the invoices, I got an angry call from Paul. Hey, what is this? Why are you asking for so much money? He demanded. I'm asking for compensation because of your cheating. Please pay it soon, I replied firmly. There's no reason I should pay that. It's insane. You don't even have any proof, he argued. If you need proof, I have it. I recorded all our recent conversations with your mom, and your admission of infidelity is on tape, I said. No way, you recorded it? He asked, stunned. Yes, I couldn't trust you anymore. If necessary, I can access the condo building's elevator surveillance footage to see who visited while I was working night shifts. Also, I've been recording all our calls recently. You said this won't end here, which could be considered a threat. I plan to claim additional compensation, I warned. All right, it was a mistake, he finally admitted. I won't contact you again, he said before hanging up. After that, I didn't hear from him anymore. My mother-in-law, however, did reach out. Expecting that my husband had told her something, I didn't respond. But she kept calling, and when I finally answered, she yelled at me. So you finally pick up, you terrible daughter-in-law. It seemed she hadn't heard anything from my husband. I calmly told her, I've recorded this call and all our recent calls. The fact that I lent you $3,000 and that you acknowledged it are all recorded. Denying it now is pointless. Why not just pay me back? Hearing this, my mother-in-law hung up without saying a word. Maybe she realized that arguing was useless. For me, it wasn't just about the money, it was about getting back at these people who treated me so badly. As a result, my husband lost the condo and had to move back to his mother's house. After being kicked out, his affair partner left him too. He tried reaching out to various people, including coworkers and clients, but his reputation was ruined when news of his infidelity got out. He eventually lost his job and had to take on several part-time jobs with much lower pay. This was the consequence of misusing my money. Now, he's working day after day to pay the compensation. My mother-in-law also had to stop gambling and started working part-time to pay back the money I demanded. Fortunately, the constant contact from them stopped, and I now enjoy peaceful days. With the night shifts fully staffed, I was moved to day shifts. During this time, my manager called me in and said, "I appreciate your hard work during the night shifts. You really supported the store. The higher-ups have noticed, and there's an offer for a full-time position. How about taking this chance to work full-time?" Transitioning from part-time to a full-time position was a very welcome opportunity. I feel hopeful about the future. From having nothing but a middle school education, I've now risen to a fulfilling full-time job, and I'm excited for what's to come.